Hello Internet, and welcome back to my series of film reviews. Last time we covered K-pop Demon Hunters, and now we're here to return to a utopia that resulted in a massive surge within the furry community, Zootopia 2. Zootopia 2 is a direct sequel to the 2016 smash hit Zootopia, or Zootropolis in the UK and other countries, and Zoomania in Germany. For international releases, a lot of changes were made, such as making news reporters different animals, like a panda in China, or a moose in America, Canada, and France, a koala bear in Australia and New Zealand, a jaguar in Brazil, and a Japanese raccoon dog or tanuki for Japan. Zootopia is one of my all-time favorite Disney movies of the 2010s, next to Frozen, Big Hero 6, Tangled, Moana, which is getting the live-action remake treatment in July 2026 to celebrate the original film's 10th anniversary, and which will only be released 2 years after Moana 2, and my absolute favorite, Wreck-It Ralph, for obvious reasons, hint hint. Returning from the first film is a stacked voice cast consisting of Jennifer Goodwin as Judy Hopps, the first rabbit police officer in the city of Zootopia, Jason Bateman as Nick Wilde, a fox who teams up with Judy to solve a missing animals case, Knuckles the Echidna himself, Idris Elba as Chief Bogo, who had one of the best line deliveries in any Disney film to date.
Life isn't some cartoon musical where you sing a little song and your insipid dreams magically come true. So let it go.
Into the unknown. Show yourself. Lost in the woods. We don't talk about Bruno. How far I'll go. You're welcome. My little soda pop. How it's done. Golden. This is what it sounds like. And a whole bunch of newcomers to the cast. There's a snake named Gary the Snake, played by Short Round himself, Kei Kwan. I guess that explains the absence of an adult Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, because his temporary sidekick betrayed him and turned into the very thing that scares the shit out of him.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
A horse mayor played by Kronk and Joe Swanson himself, Patrick Warburton. He's the successor to Mayor Lionheart from the previous film, played by J. Jonah Jameson and Omni-Man himself, J.K. Simmons. And a whole bunch of other characters in a cast list so massive that it would eat up the entire runtime of this video. Now, despite me being a 30-year-old wolf boy, I don't necessarily classify myself as a furry. Mostly because of all the furry conventions and questionable drawings. David the Wolf is based on a 2015 drawing by Imperial Red, and since then, I adopted him as my official OC. But Zootopia is not like most animated films with talking animals. It brings a whole bunch of animals together with mature themes like racial prejudice between predators and prey. And I don't mean that one ugly motherfucker from the 1987 film Predator. The first film was very well done and it won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, despite being released in the exact same year as Moana. But it does a phenomenal job at portraying racial prejudice and a lesson that young children can take away. And despite this movie being an animated film for audiences of all ages, this video is not for children, for obvious fucking reasons. This video will be entirely spoiler free, so sit back, relax, enjoy your snacks, and hop along as I give my thoughts on the latest theatrical sequel to come out of Disney after Incredibles 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Toy Story 4, Frozen 2, Inside Out 2, and Moana 2. And soon to be Toy Story 5, Frozen 3, Incredibles 3, and Coco 2. This is Zootopia 2. I can happily say that Zootopia 2 was a well-done sequel, because lately, not a whole lot of Disney sequels nowadays live up to the originals. Take Cars 2 for example. The 2011 sequel to the beloved 2006 film jumps the shark in more ways than one. They had Mater, the dumbass tow truck voiced by Larry the fucking Cable Guy, get caught up in espionage and become a spy, teaming up with an Aston Martin DB5 voiced by the great Michael Caine. Cars 3 was no better, sadly. Another sad example in recent history was something that only released last year, Moana 2. This movie was announced right the fuck out of nowhere, and there was little to no hype. It was originally developed to be a Disney Plus series, but was turned into a theatrical sequel that got a mixed reception and didn't do very well at the box office, but nowhere near as abysmal as Wish, which I had the misfortune of reviewing 2 years ago. Inside Out 2 surprised me with more complex emotions, and even showed Riley having a fucking panic attack due to the actions of anxiety. And that is an example of a recent Disney sequel that did a great job at expanding the world of the original while adding new stuff to it to make it engaging and complex. Zootopia 2, I feel, did the exact same thing. In the year since the release of the original 2016 film, I thought to myself, why are there no reptiles in Zootopia? Or birds for that matter? Or even insects like spiders and ladybugs? or even actual Beatles voiced by Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, since as of this video's upload, they are the last surviving original members of the Beatles after John Lennon was shot and killed in 1980, and George Harrison died in 2001. Funny enough, they had Michael J. Fox as a voice cameo voicing an actual fox quoting Biff Tannen from Back to the Future. Like the first film before it, this one made me laugh out loud with its humor and jokes, and even pop culture references aimed at parents and adults. Most notably a scene that's practically a parody of The Shining. I'm not gonna spoil which scene from The Shining is parodied, but let's just say it's one of the most spine-tingling scenes in the history of horror films. They even parodied modern Disney like they did with Duke Weaselton, voiced by Alan Tudyk, selling bootleg versions of iconic 2010s Disney films. This time, they referenced Disney Plus and Hulu, and even YouTube. This movie does a great job at expanding the lore of the world that was set up with the 2016 original, while introducing us to new characters and new conflicts, but not to the point where it suffers from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 syndrome, where there's too many damn villains and too many convoluted plot lines. And it made me care about the dynamic between Nick and Judy more so than the original. I'm giving Zootopia 2 an 8 out of 10. This is one of those Disney sequels that's just as good as the original, if not better. It's hard to say whether I prefer the first film over this one. I enjoy them both equally. Inside Out 2 turned out the exact same way. Right from the very first trailer, I knew that Riley was in for a wild ride with growing up and dealing with anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and ennui. Zootopia 2 does a solid job portraying snakes as outcasts who want to be treated equally among mammals, be it predator or prey, and Ki-Hei Kwan did a great job at voicing Gary, a viper trying to help his family deal with a crime family of lynxes, voiced by David Strathairn, Andy Samberg, Macaulay Culkin, and Brenda Song. This film has everything. A great voice cast, mature themes of racial prejudice against reptiles, exciting action and intrigue, and another great message that young children can take away. All I ask is that you refrain from learning Parseltongue, or befriending a venomous snake that'll result in instant death if you get bitten. While 2025 hasn't been the best year for Disney, I had a fun time with Zootopia 2, and dare I say, it might be a contender for Best Animated Feature at the 2026 Academy Awards, next to K-Pop Demon Hunters. But something tells me that K-Pop Demon Hunters is gonna win by a landslide. Stay tuned for my upcoming review of Tron Ares featuring the triumphant return of Sonic Dragon Girl 23 coming soon, as well as Avatar and Avatar Fire and Ash coming this December. Till then, I'll see you all next time.